I don't know if that went on, but this is why. Good. Okay. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for tuning in this morning for 9 a.m. Hot Flow. My name is Melissa here at Mystic Fitness. So beautiful in here, so warm and bright. Come in and join us or watch any of our live streams. We're live streaming every morning at 9 a.m. If you like what we do, you like watching the practice, feel free to Venmo us or mail a check to Mystic Fitness. Thank you so much for your support. And with that, feel free to find a comfortable spot on your mat. We're going to start lying down on our mats with our heads in the front of the mat, feet facing the end. And just take a moment to get comfortable. Maybe let your eyes close and just settle in. Begin to take some deep breaths. Tracing the path of the air as it enters through your nose, travels down and fills your lungs, and then flows out through your body. You might put a hand on your belly and one on your chest for kind of a tactile reminder of your breath. Allowing every inhale to fill you up with fresh air and every exhale to let you sink a little deeper into the earth. Staying with your breath here, using this as a base for your practice. You might begin to flutter your eyes open and begin to wake up the body in whatever way feels natural for you. Maybe that's just wiggling the fingers and the toes. Maybe it's a big stretch overhead. And if you haven't already, on a big inhale, stretch up overhead, make a full body stretch. And on the exhale, grab your right wrist with your left hand and drag it over to the left. Maybe cross the right ankle over the left, little banana shape here. Big breath in, feel your rib cage expand, that right side of the body open up. And then on the exhale, return back to center, let everything go long, stretch up. Inhale, and then on the exhale, drag the left wrist over to the right, crossing left ankle over right. Taking a side bend to the opposite side now. Inhaling, feeling that left rib cage open up. And on the exhale, returning towards center, letting everything even out. Take a big inhale here. And on the exhale, bend your knees, curl your knees into the chest. Give them a little hug, a little squeeze. Maybe some rocking side to side would feel good. Massaging out the low back. And then when you're ready, pull your right knee into your chest. Let your left leg go long. Take a big inhale, and on the exhale, send your heel up towards the sky. Inhale, pull your knee into your chest. Exhale, press your heel towards the sky. Toes pointing towards shin, kind of getting into the hamstring here. One more time, moving with your breath. Inhale, pull your knee into your chest. Exhale, press the heel away. Next time that heel is in the air, take a moment here. Take some ankle circles with that right ankle. 5 times in one direction. And then 5 times in the opposite direction. And when you feel ready, pull that right knee back into your chest. Inhale. And on the exhale, let the knee drop out a little bit to the side. Inhale, pull the knee back in the chest. This time, exhale, cross the knee over your body to the side. Begin to make this a little bit more fluid, taking some hip circles here, making some wide circles with your knees, with the assist of your hand, letting your knee go out to the side, across the body, back into your chest, just getting into the hips here, seeing what feels good, kind of getting into those, the parts of the body with the nooks and crannies that feel best. So listen to your body. If there's a point you kind of want to hold for a moment, and then when you're ready, we'll switch legs, take it to the other side, letting the right leg go long, pulling the left knee into the chest. Take a big inhale, squeeze, and on the exhale, pressing the heel up towards the sky. Toes pointing towards shin, and then moving with your breath again, pulling it into the chest on your inhale, exhale, pressing the heel away. Noticing your breath. And the next time that left heel is in the sky, take a moment and just get some ankle circles in here. Taking your time, drawing wide circles in the sky with your toes, switching directions, just seeing what feels good. And then when you're ready, pulling the knee back into your chest, and then on an exhale, allowing it to go out to the side nice and wide. Inhale, pull it back into chest, and exhale, cross the body. And either moving like this, just side to side, or letting it become a little bit more circular, letting the knee go a little bit more in front of you, pulling it into the chest. Just taking some hip circles here, seeing what feels good, listening to your body. Awesome. And then when you feel ready, place both soles of the feet on the ground, bending the knees. Let your arms go out wide to the side. Take a big inhale, and on the exhale, just drop your knees to the left. Look over your right shoulder. Inhale, return everything up towards center, and exhale, drop your knees to the right, looking over your left shoulder. Couple times back and forth like this, just massaging out the low back, noticing how it feels to kind of warm up this first little mini twists we're doing here. Incorporating the neck into it. And when you feel like your hips are nice and warmed up and loosened up, you might bring your knees up towards center, keeping your feet placed underneath. Your hands can go alongside your body. Begin to press into your heels and lift your glutes off the mat just by a couple inches, squeezing at the top here, a little mini glute bridge. And then slowly lowering down one vertebrae at a time. Again, driving through the heels, picking the glutes up off the mat by a couple inches, and then slowly lowering down. We'll do 5 more of these here, just moving at whatever pace is comfortable for you. Just kind of establishing that connection with the low back, the glutes, allowing yourself to kind of arch at the bottom when your back is on the mat, and then kind of curling and pressing into the heels to lift up. And maybe one last one, squeeze at the top, and then when you're ready, lower all the way down to the mat. You might roll onto one side into a little fetal position and make your way up into a seated position on your mat. Just taking a moment here, whatever kind of posture you've landed in, you might let your eyes shut, just kind of take a moment, feel your breath. A little internal smile going on here. There might be an intention for your practice today, or maybe just the week ahead. Maybe you just like the feeling of just presence here, being connected with your breath. And then if you feel ready and you'd like to add some postures into your practice, you might on the inhale reach up overhead, letting your kind of wrists circle out. A couple times in each direction. And then allowing the fingers to come to the shoulders, allowing your elbows to take some circles here, swinging them out in front of you into the back, getting into the shoulders, the upper back here. Do 5 times in one direction and then 5 in the other. Awesome. When your wrists and shoulders feel nice and loose, you can start to make your way to your tabletop position, shoulders stacked over wrists, hips over knees, and begin to allow yourself to take some arches and curls here, letting the belly drop and the head look up. Exhale, press the floor away from you, curl the spine. And instead of letting your body move your breath, let your breath move your body. Just really tune into your breath and how it feels, the subtle differences, the temperature changes of the breath coming in and out as you move through these postures. And then begin to allow this to become a little bit more fluid, maybe taking some hip circles here, drawing big circles with your hips, maybe opening the knees a little bit wider. Just see what feels good here. No right, no wrong. Just cautious exploration of what feels good for your body today. Maybe the side to side and circular motions feel really good. And you can stay with that. But if you'd like, you can send your hips back over your heels, letting your forehead drop to the mat. A little bit of a child's pose here. Really letting your forehead ground down. For those of you at home, you might want to put a block or a blanket underneath your forehead or even in between your thighs and your belly for a little bit of support. Wherever you are, just take a big breath. And you might tent your fingers and walk them over to the left corner of your mat, kind of sending your hips back towards the right. Kind of getting a little side bend in this child's pose. Big breath in and let it go. Walking your hands back towards center. If you took that side bend, maybe taking it to the other side now, walking your hands over to the right, sending your hips back into the left. Just seeing if that feels good, switching it up a little bit. And if you're comfortable here, take your time. If you'd like to get some more movement, you can make your way to your tabletop position, where we'll be taking a little bit of fire hydrant. So pick up your left knee and send it out laterally a couple inches off the ground. Might look different for everybody. Wherever you are, when you get to the top, give it a little squeeze and then lower back down. Again, lifting that left knee up. You might enjoy these fire hydrants just as they are. We'll do about 15 of them, lifting to the side, squeezing at the top, and then lowering back down. You may like to incorporate lifting the right hand off as well, maybe placing it behind your ear, bending at the elbow, and doing a little bit of a crunch underneath the body, tapping the right elbow to the left knee, and then sending everything back out to the side. Whatever's comfortable for you, whatever layer you met your little goal at, keep going for it wherever you're comfortable. We'll do about 10 more wherever you are. Awesome opportunity here to kind of begin to warm up the core as well as the glutes. If you're doing the crunches, make sure your right shoulder is getting a nice opening at the top. And we'll do 2 more wherever you are. Awesome. And then when you're ready, if you'd like to take it to the other side, now raising the right knee off of the mat, squeezing at the top, and then lowering back down. You may incorporate the left hand into this and kind of squeeze and crunch everything underneath the body. Whatever feels good for you. We'll do about 10 more here. Seeing if you can incorporate your breath into this. Maybe inhale, opening everything up, and exhale, crunching underneath the body. And do 5 more. Whatever pace you're going at. Take your time. Awesome. And then lowering everything back down. Just take a moment, shake everything out. Let the hips rock side to side. And then when you're ready, begin to come up onto your knees. You might like to put a block or a blanket or maybe even fold your yoga mat a little bit so you have some support with your knees. And then when you're ready, let your left leg go out long to the side. On the inhale, let your right arm lift up. And on the exhale, make sure to take a nice stretch over that left knee. A couple more moments here. You might let the right arm take some big circles in each direction. And then from here, keeping the left leg where it is, allowing the hands to come down to the mat. If it feels good for your body, you might take the left hand up on an inhale, and on the exhale, twist it underneath the body, tap the left shoulder down. Again, inhale, sweep up towards the sky. Exhale, underneath the body, tap the shoulder down. One more time, inhale, swoop up. Exhale, left hand crosses underneath the body, tap the left shoulder down, just kind of hang out here for a moment. It might feel good to send your hips back a little bit. And then when you're ready, returning everything up, coming back onto your knees, taking it over to the other side now, allowing the right leg to go long. The right hand can go somewhere alongside the right thigh or even the shin for a little bit of support. On the inhale, let your left hand reach up towards the sky, nice and long. And on the exhale, reaching over to the right side of the room. Noticing the subtle differences in each side here. Really allowing that rib cage to expand. Big breaths. If you like to incorporate those big windmill arms, go for it. Kind of helps you open up the side body. So great because you're stretching out that left side as well as getting a little bit of pinching on that right hip. A little bit of a tourniquet effect. And then when you're ready, if you'd like to place your hands in front of you on the mat, allowing the right hand to swoop up on the inhale, and then on the exhale, crossing underneath your body, tapping the right shoulder down, or it might not tap all the way down, you might just cross underneath the body. Inhale, swooping up again, and exhale, crossing underneath your body. You might know you like this static hold. You might like to keep moving with your breath. Wherever you are, one more round. Awesome. And then taking your time to settle everything back, you can step back to your tabletop. Again, just taking a moment, shaking everything out here. And then from your tabletop, just stamp your left foot forward. Make sure there's some room between your left foot and your right knee tapped down. And just take a moment here and kind of get into that left hip. You might begin to extend the front left leg. Might take a little baby kind of lizard. Just whatever feels good here. Just kind of maybe holding this little low lunge for a moment. Really allowing the inside of the right hip to open up and the outside of the left hip. When you feel ready, press into that left foot, straighten it. Maybe let the forehead tap down to the left knee, if that feels good. Allowing this hamstring stretch here. And then when you're ready, taking it to the other side, you can let that left foot step back into your tabletop, then stepping that right foot forward, doing the same thing on the other side. Just seeing what feels good here, really allowing those hips to open up. The static hold might feel really good. Or maybe pressing back and forth, straightening the right leg. With the knee bent, you might even like to tap the elbows down for a little mini lizard. So whatever feels good here. About 30 seconds to kind of just see what feels right for your body. I kind of like to roll onto the outside of my right foot a little bit. Whatever feels good for you. If anything is uncomfortable or doesn't feel productive, just skip it, listen to your body, see what feels right. And then from here, begin to stand up, pressing into your right foot for a nice forward fold at the top of your mat. Letting the head hang heavy, just taking a breath here. Maybe kind of walking the hands side to side, shaking the head yes, shaking it no. And then when you're ready, driving through the heels, lifting all the way up, letting your hands reach up towards the sky. Inhale. And then on the exhale, press the hands together, pull them down towards your heart. One more time. Inhale, arms go up. Exhale, hands to heart center, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins, straight back. Exhale, plant your hands down, step your feet back for a plank. Allow the knees to tap down. From the knees to the crown of the head should be one straight line. Take an inhale, and on the exhale, lower yourself down all the way down to the mat, squeezing the elbows into the side. Here, let the shoelace sides of the feet ground down, kneecaps lift, glutes are engaged. Using your upper and low back muscles, keeping your elbows squeezed into your sides and your shoulders down and away from your neck, begin to slowly peel the chest off the ground just by a couple inches here, squeezing the shoulder blades together and the glutes, really driving into those feet. Inhale, and then on the exhale, press back through your tabletop. Curl your toes under and find downward dog. Here you might like to kind of pedal the feet a little bit, bending one knee at a time. Shaking the head yes, shake it no. And begin to flow back and forth between downward dog and plank here, letting the shoulders stack over the wrists in plank, and then pushing the hips back for downward dog. Taking a moment here to notice that alignment. I personally really like to bend my knees in downward dog. That really helps me send my hips back and keep a little bit less pressure on my wrists. So whatever feels good for you. And next time you're in downward dog, just take some baby steps so your feet can meet your hands. Forward fold, and on the inhale, driving through the feet, rise all the way to stand. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to heart center, forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins, flat back. Exhale, hands plant, feet step or hop back for plank. Take an inhale. On the exhale, you might tap your knees, you might not. Just lower all the way down to the mat. And on the inhale, you can either take that baby cobra like we did, or you might push into the hands, keeping a little micro bend in the elbows, finding a little up dog. Either way, big inhale, and on the exhale, curl your toes, find your way back to downward facing dog. Awesome, just allowing yourself a couple of moments here to catch your breath. Anytime you'd like to return to down dog or child's pose, these are absolutely options for you, very productive postures. And if you'd like, on the inhale, raise your right leg up towards the sky. On the exhale, curl your right knee into your chest. Inhale, send it back up towards the sky. Exhale, curl your right knee into your chest. And step your right foot towards your right thumb. Find a little runner's lunge here. Using your abs to lift you up a little bit, press your right hand to the outside of your right thigh to activate the glute. Keep your knee stacked over your ankle and begin to send your left hand up towards the sky. Finding a little bit of a runner's lunge thunderbolt here. Big breath in and let it go. Should feel some nice engagement in that right glute. And then on the inhale, drop the left hand to the inside of the foot. And then let your right arm sweep up towards the sky. little runner's lunge twist here. See if you can play around with kind of floating the left fingers or just tenting them. See if you can go without pouring too much weight into that left hand. Another moment here to twist. And then on the exhale, drop that left heel down to the mat. Rise up into your warrior two position, arms going alongside your body. Take a moment here, check your alignment. Make sure that from the heel of your front foot to the arch of your back foot is one straight line. Keeping your knee stacked over your ankle, the outside of your left foot is grounding heavily down into the mat. You might shrug your shoulders up and let them go. Maybe some circles with your wrists here. Really kind of peeling the mat away from each other. And on the inhale, flip your front palm, reverse your warrior, letting your right hand reach up towards the sky, the left hand draping down the back of the thigh. Getting into that side body once again. And on the exhale, shifting your arms forward and letting your right forearm come to the inside of the right thigh, letting your left hand reach up towards the sky, fingers long extended. A little bit of a side angle here. And begin to flow back and forth between a reverse warrior on an inhale and then a side angle on an exhale. Moving at whatever pace feels good for you. Again, letting that breath move your body instead of your body moving your breath. Let that be the basis of your practice. And that next time, whenever you're ready, you find yourself in that side angle, just take a moment here. Keep your hand on your right shin. Extend your right leg. Keep a little micro bend in the right knee to protect it. And then find a little triangle here. You might even extend that right leg, that right arm long. Use your core. Again, you don't want to pour too much weight into that right hand. Another big breath. Awesome. And then return to your warrior two position. Let your hands frame your right foot, circle down. And then you can step that right foot back. On an exhale, lower yourself down to the mat, maybe keeping that right leg lifted. And then on the inhale, heart bursts open, baby cobra or up dog. Exhale, curl the toes, downward facing dog. Awesome. And then taking it to the other side now. On the inhale, letting your left leg go long. Exhale, curling it into your chest. Inhale, send it back up. Exhale, curl it into your chest. Step that left foot towards the left thumb. And then taking a moment here to rise into your runner's lunge. Setting up for thunderbolt, letting that left hand really press into the left knee for support there as you raise your right hand up towards the sky. Connecting with your breath here. That shakiness, really ground down through the ball of the front foot. And then let that right hand drop to the inside of the foot, letting the left hand twist up towards the sky. See what it feels like to begin to tent that right hand. See the difference in core activation that requires. One more big breath. And then on the exhale, drop that right heel down, allowing your hands to reach up and find a warrior two position. Take a moment, set up your feet, your knees. Again, that outside of that back foot should be nice and grounded down. Really spread the mat apart. Shrug your shoulders up, let them go. Big breath in. Let it go. Next inhale, flip that front palm, reverse your warrior, reaching up towards the sky. And then on the exhale, tipping forward, finding a side angle. Left forearm to the inside of the left thigh. And then again, letting your breath move your flow, move your practice. Moving back and forth between side angle and reverse warrior. See what feels good for you, whatever pace feels good. Beautiful. And next time you're in that side angle, just find a triangle by extending that left leg, letting the right arm reach up towards the sky, fingers long. You might even float that left arm. Awesome. When you're ready, finding your way back into your warrior two, circling the hands to frame the left foot, stepping that left foot back, maybe keeping it lifted as you lower down to the mat on an exhale. And on the inhale, find your baby cobra or up dog. And exhale, find your down dog. You might enjoy taking a moment here, kind of letting the knees tap down, taking a child's pose. Maybe down dog is just where you want to be. Wherever you are, take a moment, catch your breath. Begin to bend your knees and either walk or hop your feet up towards the top of the mat. Nice forward fold here. And begin to find a chair pose, letting the toes touch, the knees stacked over the ankles, letting the hips sink back. Chest is proud. Maybe your arms are out in front of you, maybe they're at your chest. Just take a moment here, kind of let that heat build. And then drop the left forearm to the inside of the left thigh. Maybe step the feet out a little bit to make room for it. And then now allow the right hand to swoop up towards the sky on an inhale. Little Utkatasana with a chair twist here. Big inhale. And then let it go. Begin to center, stabilize. Begin to put all of your weight into your left foot. Your hands can come a little bit above the left knee for a little bit of support as you begin to send the right leg back behind you for a little warrior three variation here. Shaking in that left foot. Right foot is flexed, right glutes are on. You might extend the arms out in front of you long for a full warrior three. And then when you're ready, slowly letting that right foot tap down behind you, landing in a lunge position. Taking a moment here, let your hands come to your hips. Make sure your feet are properly aligned, hip distance apart. And then begin to take some dips. So on the exhale, allow the knee to tap down and then press back up, driving through the left foot. Moving at your own pace here. Sometimes the slower, the better with the dips. You know those moments at the very end where you just want it to end, so you just kind of throw the knee down. See if you can move slower. Those hardest parts are usually where the gains are. Being gentle with your body. And letting the time and the gravity do the work. And as always, all we've got to do as yogis is just follow that breath. Try to incorporate some breath movements into what you're doing. See if it feels good to throw an exhale as you press the floor away. Wherever you are, two more. Awesome. And then let that right heel drop down, opening up to the right side of the room. Toes out, heels in. Find a little bit of a goddess pose here, sinking into the hips, allowing the knees to stack over the ankles. Pelvis isn't too arched or too curled. It's nice and neutral spine. Chest is proud. Your hands can be on the inside of your thighs, maybe on your hips, maybe in front of your chest for a little mudra. Wherever feels comfortable for you. You might even let your eyes close here. Just really kind of sinking into that feeling, the sensations of this posture. seeing what's coming up for you today. Two more breaths wherever you are. Awesome. And then kind of fluttering the eyes open if you had them closed. And then beginning to take the right foot and letting it point towards the back edge of your mat. Setting up for a little half moon pose on your right foot now. Beginning to pour the weight into your right foot as you send your left leg and left arm up towards the sky. Hinging at the hips. Letting the hand land on the floor or a block about 6 to 9 inches in front of that right toe. Again, not pouring too much weight into the hand. Keeping the left foot flexed. Glutes on fire. Taking a moment here to really feel that twist up towards the sky. Big breath in and let it go. And then gently, when you feel ready, tapping that left foot down back towards the front of the mat. You can find your warrior two facing the front of the room. Big inhale, and then you can frame the left foot. Stepping back for a three-legged dog here. Keeping that left foot in the air, you might bend the knee and dial the hip open. If you like to flip your dog, you might do that. And then whenever you feel ready, you can begin to center, stabilize the hip, and then let that left leg come down. Take a moment here, shake everything out. And then you can inhale, bend the knees, walk or float to the top of your mat. And same thing, we'll set it for a chair pose here. Arms sweeping up, hips sinking low, knees stacked over ankles. And now taking it to the other side, letting the right hand drop to the inside of the right thigh. And moving your left hand with a nice flow. Inhale, sweeping up towards the sky. And exhale, kind of letting it cross underneath the body. Like you're painting the sky on an inhale. On the exhale, kind of returning home. Seeing what feels good for you. Might feel good to kind of hold at the top, letting it squeeze. And then when you feel ready, begin to center, stabilize, pour all your weight into that right foot. You can have a little base with your hands right above the right knee as you begin to send the left leg back behind you. Left foot flexed for a little warrior three variation here. Seeing the shakiness that occurs and all those tiny little ankle and foot muscles getting stronger. One more breath. And then slowly letting that left leg land down to the mat. Toes out, heels in, this time opening up to the left side of the room. And we'll just take a nice forward fold here, wide-legged forward fold. So take your hands to your hips and begin to hinge at the hips, using your core to lower you down slowly with control. Your hands might touch the ground. Really letting yourself kind of play around with this posture, walking hands to your left foot, and then taking it to the other side over to your right foot. Just seeing what feels good here. You might even walk your hands kind of in between your legs, back behind you. Really let your neck be heavy. One of my all-time favorite poses here. Wherever you are, two more breaths, kind of drink this in. And then when you're ready, your hands can come to your hips. Use your core just as slow as controlled as you did to get in. You can begin to lift up and out of the posture. And then turning your left toes to face the back of the mat, setting up for Ardha Chandrasana or half moon on your left foot here. Beginning to pour that weight into the left leg as you send your right arm and right limbs up towards the sky. as your left hand can land somewhere a couple inches in front of your left foot. Let your right hand extend long. Again, that shakiness. Letting your hips open here. Finding that focus. Big breath in. And letting it go. Slowly lowering that right leg down to the mat. You can find your warrior two facing the front of the room. And then when you feel ready, you can circle your hands, frame that right foot, and you can step the right foot back for a three-legged dog. Opportunity here to bend the knee, dial the hip open, maybe flip your dog if that's in your practice. Then wherever you're coming from, begin to center, stabilize that right hip, and then you can let it kind of drop down. And just take a moment here in your down dog, even anything out which feels good. Again, child's pose always an option. Awesome. And now take your right foot on the inhale, lift it up towards the sky. Exhale, curl it towards your chest. Stamp that right foot down towards your right thumb. Take a moment, find your high lunge position here. Really center, stabilize everything. Your arms might reach up. And then begin to send your left foot forward to meet your right. Your hands can come to your heart center and then down to your sides. We're going to take a single leg deadlift here. So let your left foot lift a couple inches off the mat, maybe bending at the knee. If you have a weight at home, maybe even a can of beans you want to use, go for it. Just as effective without one. Taking your hands maybe together, putting all that weight in your right leg, and begin to hinge at the hips, reaching your arms down towards your right shin, and then driving through the heel, lifting back up. Squeezing your right glute at the top, and then doing it again. Deadlifting down, and then lifting back up. Squeezing at the top. One more time. Deadlift down, and then back up. Next time you deadlift, and you're at the bottom, when you stand up, stamp that left foot down, and take a little squat. Driving through the heels, lifting back up. Now taking a little deadlift on that right leg, lowering down, squeezing at the top. Stamping left foot down, taking a little squat. Moving back and forth here between deadlifts and squats on that right foot. Again, seeing what motions might feel good for you to incorporate your breath. So maybe it's a inhale, lowering down to the bottom of your deadlift, exhaling, pulling up. Maybe it's an inhaling, pressing down to your squat, exhaling, pressing to the top. When you feel ready and you'd like to try it on the other side, take your time and do a couple deadlifts just on the left leg to feel that balance, to kind of warm up the hamstrings. One of the more challenging things or postures, I would say, I've noticed in my own body are these single leg deadlifts because they require so much balance as well as strength. See what feels good for you. When you feel like you've kind of warmed up those left leg deadlifts, kind of let yourself go back and forth between squats and deadlifts. Really take a moment to squeeze at the top of each deadlift and at the top of each squat. There's no rush whatsoever. In fact, the slower you go, the better it probably is. Wherever you are, give yourself 2 more rounds of whatever beautiful little sequence you've made for yourself here. And when you feel ready, you can just let your hands reach up toward the sky. Just fill your body with fresh air. And on the exhale, take a little forward fold, let it all go. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine. Exhale, hands plant, feet step back, top of your plank. And then on the exhale, lowers you down to the mat. Inhale, heart bursts open, find a little baby cobra or up dog. And on the exhale, send the hips up and back for a downward facing dog. Awesome. Take your right leg. On the inhale, lift it up towards the sky. On the exhale, pull your right knee into your chest. Stamp it down. Find a little bit of a high lunge. Let that left hand drop. Find a runner's lunge twist like we have. Nice inhale. Maybe circle the wrists a little bit. And then drag your right wrist with you as you pull it up and to the back of the room. Straighten the right leg, sky archer here. Awesome. Begin to tip forward. Let that right hand go long. Find a little bit of a triangle. And then lifting everything up towards the middle of your mat. Find a star shape here, letting your toes out, heels in, taking up a lot of space. And then turning towards the back, taking it towards the left foot now, finding a high lunge here. Taking a moment, making sure your feet are hip distance apart. And then letting the right hand drop down, finding a little bit of a twist here. And now finding that left wrist, dragging it with you back, finding a sky archer, reaching back towards the front of the room now, extending that left leg long. And then when you feel ready, letting that left hand reach long and begin to tip forward and find another triangle. When you feel ready, pulling everything up, star shape, really taking up a lot of space here. Letting everything stretch out. And then beginning to find your way back towards the front of the mat where you started, framing your right foot, stepping your right foot back, holding a little bit of a plank pose here. Holding your plank for a couple breaths here. I promise I'm watching the clock. Try not to just survive, but really thrive in these opportunities here. Anytime you'd like, tap down your knees. There's no problem with that at all. It's absolutely beautiful. Squeezing your glutes, keeping your spine neutral, shoulders stacked over your wrists here. Imagine my hand is in between your shoulder blades and you're pushing it away. Really give yourself a couple conscious breaths. I promise if you take 3 long breaths, we'll be done by the end of it. Really pulling your navel up and in towards your spine. And then when you feel ready, you can tap the knees down and then lower all the way down to the mat. Finding a little bit of a sphinx pose here, allowing the elbows to come underneath the shoulders. Your gaze is a foot or two out in front of you. Just really allowing yourself to stretch the front of your core, which we've worked so much today. Couple more breaths wherever you are here. Really luxuriating in that feeling. And when your abs are nice and comfortable, that's when I'm going to tell you it's time to do some abs. So take your time to flip over onto your back. I'm going to face sideways so everybody watching at home can see. And then from your back, bend your knees. Begin to lift your heels up towards the sky, kind of like we did in those hamstring stretches in the beginning. And what we're going to do here is if you place your palms together, keeping your legs just as they are, nice and long and stacked and straight, begin to just kind of pulse your hands up as if you were going to reach for your toes and then lower back down. It might not look like really much at all, but trust me, you'll feel it. And then when you reach up towards the center, the next time you're lowering down, take your hands, kind of karate chop them to the left, like outside of your left shin, and then lower back down. And then over to the right side of the shin, and lowering back down. Then up towards center. Moving like this, picking yourself up to the left, to the right, and towards center. It's going to look very subtle for most people, but it's extremely effective, and it actually feels really good. So just squeezing your abs, kind of karate chopping in between your shins and to the side of each shin, lifting yourself up. We'll give yourself here like maybe 30 more seconds. And you can move as slow or fast as you'd like here. Just seeing what feels good for you. Don't be worried if you're not totally reaching close towards the toes. It's better to keep the legs nice and straight and really have that ab engagement. If you find a spot that feels really yummy to just kind of hold and let yourself kind of burn it down, do that. And if you like kind of coming in and out, do that as well. Wherever you're at, give it 5 more seconds. Maybe one more on each side. Awesome. And letting everything go nice and long. Taking a breath here. Filling your lungs, really letting your abs get that fresh, oxygenated blood. And letting it go. Interlacing your hand, bending your elbows, placing your hands behind your head. Pick your head up a couple inches off the mat. And then doing the same thing, bending the knees and then extending the legs long up towards the sky. See how it feels to just drop one leg down to the mat, maybe hovering a couple inches off the mat, and then lifting back up. And then taking it to the right side, dropping the right leg down, keeping the left leg where it is. And then kind of moving back and forth, one leg at a time, dropping down as you provide support with your head, with your hands. See how it feels to drop both feet down at once. Maybe they hover a little higher for that one. Give yourself 10 rounds here of whatever you're doing. Moving really nice and slow. It's getting harder to cue. 5 more. 3 more. Last one. Awesome. And then you can let everything just go along. I promise I'm done with abs. Totally relax here. Let yourself just melt for a moment. And then when you feel ready, you may make your way onto your side, pushing your way back up, finding a little bit of a tabletop. Take your time getting there, however you get there. Give yourself that opportunity here to check in, see how it feels different from the beginning of class. Take some arches and curls. Should feel a little different in your hips and your abs now, your neck. Seeing how that feels. And however you get there, finding your way onto your belly now. Setting up for a little bit of a bow pose, kind of like we've done throughout class. So letting your fingertips be in line with the tops of your shoulders, your elbows bent and squeezed into your sides, your shoulders down and away from your neck. Really activate the shoelace sides of the feet into the ground so your kneecaps might even lift. Squeeze your glutes, and then as you press into the ground, you lift the chest up. Take a nice inhale and just kind of hold here for a moment in this awesome posture. Just let yourself breathe and feel that strength in the back. You might kind of press into the fingers a little bit, and you might tent the hands even a little bit. Wherever you are, 2 more breaths here. Squeezing and then lowering down. And we'll take a breath here to kind of let everything settle, and then when you feel ready, we'll do a pretty similar posture, but this time let your hands reach out back behind you long. And on an inhale, begin to lift everything, your feet and your hands kind of floating here. Really using your back muscles and shoulder muscles and glutes to lift everything up. Give yourself a couple breaths here to kind of fly on this Monday morning. One more breath, and then lowering down to the mat. Awesome. Take a moment, make a pillow for your forehead with your left forearm, and begin to bend your right knee and reach back with your right hand. Grab your ankle or your shin or your toes. If you have maybe even a shirt or a yoga strap at home to be able to reach that right leg, go for it. Taking a little bit of a quad stretch here. Keeping the thighs pressed together to protect the knees. We'll take 5 breaths here. The common thread through all of this has been just connecting with the breath. Making your way to the other side whenever you feel comfortable, making a little pillow with your right forearm, reaching back with your left arm, keeping the thighs squeezed together. You might even like to kind of kick into that left hand with your left foot, like a little mini half bow pose. Whatever feels good to really stretch those hamstrings out. We did a lot of lunges and squats today, so and then when you feel ready, letting that left leg go long. However you'd like to get there, you might just kind of flip onto your back. You might take a little fetal position for a moment before you lie there. However you get there, making your way onto your back once again. And then you can bend the knees, give them a little bit of a squeeze, maybe a rock side to side, whatever feels good for you here. And then kind of like we did in the beginning of the class, just squeezing that right knee into your chest. This time kind of holding it a little bit more static. Avoid the rib cage with that right knee. A little bit of wind removing. Keeping the right foot flexed. And then taking it to the other side, letting the right leg go long, pulling the left knee into the chest, giving it a little squeeze, a little lovin'. Big breath in. And let it go. You can let the left knee drop, bend your knees, pull the soles of the feet near your hips, and then driving through the heels, pick your glutes up off the mat just by an inch, shift them over to the right a little bit, plop them back down, and then let your knees drop to the left. Your arms can go long, gaze goes over your right shoulder. You might even extend that top right leg long, keeping both shoulders grounded down into the mat. Noticing the breath if it's constricted in any way. Letting the breath be that vehicle to releasing any tension you don't need to be holding. Especially in postures like this, we often kind of lose the breath, hoping that that'll make it a little bit easier or faster to get through, but in fact, it's the breath that will make things a little bit more comfortable here. Letting gravity do the work. See if you can take 5 conscious breaths here. Maybe even counting. And when you feel ready, you might just be like in pure bliss in these types of postures. Absolutely enjoy it. Stay with it. If you'd like to take it to the other side, slowly making your way back towards center, bringing your knees back to the center of your mat, adjusting your hips, and then doing the same thing, picking them up, bringing them a little bit over to the left before you drop them down. Let your knees drop to the right. You can look over your left shoulder. You might even extend that top left leg long. Whatever feels good here, you might not. It might feel better to just keep it where it was. Each side has its own differences. Whatever comes up, we just honor it. Seeing where your attention goes. If you feel ready and you'd like to center everything out, you can absolutely feel free. Bring your knees back in towards the center. Your arms can go alongside your body once again. You might drive into the heels and find that glute bridge one last time. A little mini back bend before slowly lowering down one vertebrae at a time. Now, letting the soles of the feet come together, knees bending. Allow the knees to drop open and away from each other. It might feel good to put blocks underneath the thighs at home or even a blanket. See about pressing your low back into the ground here. In this kind of butterfly pose, it can feel really good to just stay completely still. Sometimes kind of fluttering the wings or kind of pulsing the knees a little bit can feel really good too, and kind of remind the nervous system that it's safe and can relax. See what comes up for you. Maybe place one hand on the belly. That way it's a physical reminder of that breath. Constantly flowing in and out. Wherever you are, we'll take 10 more breaths here, just whatever pace is best for you. We built all that fire in the body, the legs, the hamstrings, the quads, the hips, the abs. And this is where it really, the benefit comes. Yoga provides this path to both strength and flexibility, which is very rare to find. Finding this sustainable place between fitness and muscle growth and flexibility and longevity. That's what these postures provide. Not to mention the numerous mental and emotional benefits of staying connected with your breath and having that connection with your body. So wherever you are, give yourself 5 more breaths to really luxuriate in this. And then when you feel ready, you might use your hands on the outside of your knees to kind of help you pull your knees back in towards center. Maybe giving the knees a little bit of a squeeze, maybe some rocking side to side. You might even kind of grab the big toes and open the knees a little bit for a happy baby. Whatever feels good here. And then for our final pose, take your knees into your chest and give yourself some rocks and some rolls and find your way up into a seated position. You can keep your eyes shut if you'd like, if you've had them shut by now. And just letting your legs go long in front of you. I'll face sideways for everybody at home. Just taking a moment, take a big inhale, let your spine go long. And then on the exhale, begin to fold over your thighs. A little forward fold here. Might feel really good to bend the knees. Depending where you're looking for the stretch, if you keep your legs straight, the hamstrings will probably feel it most. If you bend the knees, it might allow you to get a little bit more into the neck and upper back. So just see what feels good for you. Again, no right or wrong. Noticing your breath. Letting your neck just get heavy. Really melting down here. Giving yourself a few more breaths. And then when you feel ready, just going back down the opposite direction. You came back just nice and slow, one vertebrae at a time, laying back down. Opportunity here to do whatever feels good for your body. Maybe you're ready for Shavasana, just letting everything go long and wide. Maybe there's any types of twists or stretches or kind of hugs you want to give your knees. Just give yourself a couple seconds, check in, honor anything else in your body that's coming up. It's just life, just wants to be processed. Just giving yourself that freedom, both in the mind and the body, to just totally relax. And then eventually finding your Savasana, letting your palms face up, maybe your toes kind of splay out. Your eyes might float shut. And just really sinking down here. Noticing where your mind goes. From this place of stillness, I'd like to offer some words of wisdom from the Dalai Lama before we head into a busy holiday week where we're running around for all sorts of reasons. I'd like to offer you some of his wisdom. For as long as space endures, and or as long as living beings remain, until then, may I too abide to dispel the misery of the world. For as long as space endures, and or as long as living beings remain, may I too abide to dispel the misery of the world. Begin to bring yourself back to the room, noticing any sounds, the feeling of weight. You might begin to wake the body up a little bit, maybe wiggling the fingers and the toes. Take a big breath in, maybe the biggest one you've taken today. Let it go. If you'd like to stay where you are, feel free. If you'd like to end your practice seated, you might make your way into a fetal position on your side before gently pressing your way up into a seated position, maybe even keeping your eyes closed. Wherever you are, wherever you ended, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for joining me in the studio and at home. I hope you all have a beautiful week, whatever you do. And don't forget to show up for yourself and love yourself. I'll be back here next Monday. We'll be here every day. Happy Monday. Namaste.